You're listening to the G&D Show with Govinda and Dan of City of Bristol College. If you've got any comments or questions for us to read out on the show, then email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Again, that's thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Let's get on with the show.
Welcome back, everyone, from a fantastic Easter holiday. Welcome to the G&D Show. My name is Dan, and this is, of course,
Gigi.
Yes, indeed. And we're back for another series of episodes. I didn't really predict that we would take a break. That's actually on me completely. We just didn't reconvene to continue recording, did we? No. So we took a break. But we're back. Way! And we're back for another term, the final term. It's the final term down. And this episode, we want to touch base because it's basically the exam term, right? We're in exam term. So we're going to talk about exams, but not so much exam prep. We're going to go into the actual meat and cheese of the exam itself. So we start off with a phrase of the day. And the phrase of the day I've identified here, which I quite like, is from a Benjamin Spock. And the quote is as follows. I'm going to say this, and then Gigi, you tell me what you're getting from this straight away. All right? So the quote is, trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. Take it away, Gigi. Tell us what your thoughts are.
So trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. Okay, that's a very interesting one. I think, you know what, this is a beautiful segue and a foundation for today's podcast in general, because actually this has a lot to do with the application of your mind and how you see things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, me and you have a coaching background. We've often heard this thing of, you know, perceived threats or perceived stress, right? You come across those terms, haven't you?
Yeah,
of course,
absolutely.
Of course, it's important that we obviously respect that, because yes, they are stressful things. But what this quote is saying to me is that no matter how much you can know or do know at this point, being exam content and your subjects, without the confidence to apply that or conduct that or bring it forward, you're still going to struggle. You know, so I think what this is basically saying to me is that you cannot just rely on what you think you know. Yeah. And how are you mentally preparing for examinations? Bear in mind, Dan, there's going to be plenty of our students who haven't been into an examination room or hall for a number of years, right? Since year 11. So it's going to be nerve-wracking. And actually, that has a lot to do with how we prepare ourselves, and not just necessarily knowing what we should be, you know, knowing for maths and English. How about yourself?
I mean, I actually really like the fact that you said we can't really just rely on what we think we know. It's akin to the quote, but that, I think, is a really poignant thing to point out to all the listeners right now who are going into exams this term, is to say you can't rely on just what you think you know. Because what a lot of nervousness or anxiety or worry can do is actually shut down our brain's function and stop us from truly sitting in all of the knowledge we have. You can have people fail to function on some really simple things, basic motor skills, to be honest, because their brain is already processing too much at the same time. And this also feeds into the myth of multitasking. A lot of people think that multitasking is something that our brains can do, or that some people can do and some people can't. We have this myth that apparently women can multitask but men can't. No, actually, our brains can think that we can do more than one thing at a time, but actually when we perform tasks and our only focus is the task, we perform that task better. We're not actually doing as good a job on two different things as we would be if we were just doing them one at a time. And we're doing a much worse job. So when our brain is trying to process its worry, its anxiety, and its fear of failure, and so on, it's not actually bringing forth the knowledge that's truly there. So what we want to do is, I know this is going to sound so much easier than applying it, but practice the element of finding a moment of peace in our study and in the exam to actually allow our mind to process all the stuff that we actually do know. And that is a challenge because, of course, an exam is timed, and we're going to go into, again, the meat and bones of being in the exam room and what that actually can feel like. You're listening to the G&D show with Dan and Gigi, the catch-up coordinators at City of Bristol College. We just wanted to take this moment to let everyone know that we actually have some exam workshops coming forward that we want to run in your classrooms. So if you like the idea of that, if you're a member of staff or a learner and you're like, actually, that would be really helpful so that we could get better prepared and better understanding with what's going on, and maybe we can get some hands-on practical examples or exercises regarding exams, that would be great. Then reach out to us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Again, that's thegdshowbristol@gmail.com, and we can get a session booked in for you. Let's get back to the show. Okay. So exams, it's been a while actually, I think. Well, it's been 2 years basically since I think anyone's taken an exam officially. And so, yeah, it's kind of, I imagine quite nerve-wracking for a lot of students out there thinking about it. And actually beforehand, Gigi and I, obviously, we spoke, didn't we, about what we were going to cover in this conversation. And I think it's best to take this organically and see where we go. I think if anyone has a question about exams, and obviously you can, again, email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Anything that you're specifically worried about that maybe we don't touch on in this episode. But first of all, I think what I'll do is I'm just going to talk about the framework of an exam. And then what happens is after that, Gigi, you can take it from there and maybe explain some of the things that come up for you that actually are really vital bits of informational tools, perhaps, that people can use in these exam environments. So an exam, of course, is set over a certain period of time. You know, it can be an hour, it can be 45 minutes, it can be an hour and 45 minutes, sometimes 2.5 hours. And you're sat there in a room and you can't really talk to anyone. There's minimal communication. You're not allowed your phone on you. And sometimes you can take a calculator, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can take notes in, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're allowed a book in, sometimes you aren't. But I think the fundamental element that I think stresses a lot of people out with this is where it comes to the impact of the exams, or the magnitude and weight that sits around the exams. So I speak about this not to invite anyone to feel the pressure from this, but actually to acknowledge that this could be the sort of pressure that people can feel from this. So the exams sit as this anchor point upon which everything apparently stems from. And, you know, everyone's been working all this time for this moment. Everyone's been doing everything for this moment. And so what it does is it puts a large amount of pressure in a very, very, very small space of time. You're actually effectively squeezing down, 5 years worth of study almost into an hour and 45 minutes worth of examinations. That's how it feels. And of course, that sort of pressure, you think, well, that's how you get diamonds. that's how you get real clear crystal diamonds right there. So it's a large amount of pressure in a small space. And what we wanted to do was hopefully illuminate some of the areas around exams and the atmosphere within it to give people a better idea of how they could manage it on their own, and also so that people know what to expect. I don't know when the last exam you took was, Gigi. Could you say?
I actually got an examination coming up, actually.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good, but I dare I say, I'm very honest. It's not a paper examination. It's a practical, hands-to-hand observation.
Who are you fighting, man? Who are you going to fight?
How do you know I'm back in boxing?
Who's called you pistols at dawn?
No, so I've been studying Chinese medicine for a couple of years now.
Okay.
So acupuncture, unfortunately, you can't pass the test by doing a paper examination. So you are under a lot of scrutiny. There's a group of people watching you, and you're basically, you can't get anything wrong. So there's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what I would say, and I'm looking forward to it. Very, very much looking forward to it. So
yeah.
But apart from that, I would say secondary school. How about yourself, Dan?
Well, technically, the last time I took an exam would have been secondary school. Yes. But the last time I sat in an exam room was about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because I was one of the examination. How do you put it?
Invigilator?
Invigilator, is that fair? Yeah, you sat in the room and you made sure no one
Yeah.
broke the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was one of them. So I watched it there as well. And yeah, it's an interesting environment. Okay, so actually you've got an exam coming up. How are you feeling about it? What are the things that are coming up for you that you're thinking, oh, that's something I'm not particularly, excited about?
I'd like to draw upon something you mentioned earlier on.
Oh, go on then. Okay, yeah, sure.
And this is in relation to my response. I paid particular attention to when you said that, you know, like your nervous system and stress and anxiety do put you at such a disadvantage, right? Yet is also there's a reason why that needs to happen too, you know, when it comes to like threats and stuff like that to get you out of danger. And it's funny that you can know as much as you think you can about a subject, memorize it, you know, write up on it, do all sorts of stuff, flashcards and cartoons and animations around it to make sure it's embedded in your head.
Yeah.
But ultimately, even for me, for an examination, it's that that mental chatter that comes up, as in, what if you put the acupuncture needle in the wrong place? What if you administer the wrong herbs for someone? Yeah.
Sure.
So
Yes.
and I know what to do in that situation. I've been doing it for 2 years now, so it's not as if I'm a newbie to it. You know.
Yeah.
But again, even for someone like me, the mental chatter, or as we like to call it, the monkey mind, will behave in a very, very, very primitive way, in that it will make you disbelieve your abilities.
Yeah.
Discredit what you already know. Yeah.
For sure.
What do you think, Dan?
Do you know, it's funny you mentioned that, because actually that immediately makes me think about what is likely to come up as soon as people sit down in the exam room, because I recognize this, and this is something that gets said a lot. So I'm wondering if there's a different way for it to be said here now that would be beneficial. So when you sit an exam, one of the things that can ultimately, in fact, this wants to be the first thing that's identified in an exam, right? Is that pressure is everything, right? In terms of, not that it's everything you should do or remember, pressure can literally govern what the first thing you do is. And so actually it's worth, when you're entering the room, to be aware of your first step, of the first thing you do when that exam starts. Because we all point to the first thing you should do when the exam starts, but what I think gets missed out is what is going to impact that decision. And what's going to impact that decision is the reality of being sat in the room and you see the clock going, right? The way it feels. You've got the kind of start time on the whiteboard. You've got an invigilator. You've got everyone around you. You're quiet. Your phone's not on you. It's a very different environment to what I think a lot of young people today are used to. Perhaps any young person is used to be fair. Examination rooms are actually quite unique in their environment, in their atmosphere. So actually it's acknowledging that you're in a new space. You're in a new space, but you are not a new human being, right?
Good way of putting it.
Yeah, just because you're in a new environment, that doesn't mean you need to be a new person. And that means that when people say, make sure you read every single question first, that is what the F you do when you sit down and the thing starts. Because I know, because I watch this as an invigilator, I watch this happen. I know, because again, I worked with some of the students on this very thing. And obviously I sat there watching them not do the thing I told them to do, and it was heartbreaking. But I would say to them, make sure you read everything. And I'll go into why, unless actually, Gigi, you know the answer and I could let you take away from there. But you know, make sure you read everything first. But I'm aware that they are nervous when they walk in. You're going to feel that tension when you walk in. The fact that you have to go in, put your bag down, make sure your phone's off, right? Off, not on silent, off. Because someone made the mistake of thinking they put their phone on silent, it vibrated. That cost them. That was an unfortunate thing. Cost them big time. So, then sitting down, having the desk separated out, not being able to really talk to one another, because that also, when you enter the room, you're not really allowed to talk to one another. All of these things, it feels very official, more so than ever before. But I want people to listen to this and understand this and go, yeah, these are the rules of the room, but you still have agency over yourself. So make sure that as you enter the room, you're following the rules. But the first thing you do as soon as the thing starts, because this will change everything about how it goes from there, is that you make sure that you sit and spend the first 2 to 5 minutes or 10 minutes, however long, just reading the question so you understand what is happening.
Yeah.
Vital, because that will fundamentally change how the rest of that exam goes. Gigi, I'm going to let you explain why that's a good idea, if you want, to read all the questions first, because I think
Absolutely.
you can take that part away.
Absolutely. I think fundamentally, and I've seen this, I will definitely classify this as good practice in general. Doesn't matter what exam you're doing. I think if in my 7 years and 8 years, partly in secondary schools, I would definitely say that yes, planning and strategies are something that go under the window or under the radar, I should say, because of the added pressure and the time ticking away. Now you're gone from time is against me, and what am I going to do? So just to reiterate what Dan said, when you read a question, you're practically slowing yourself down. You have got more time, or perceived time, to look at what is asked from you and what is required from you. Because the last thing you want to do is, of course, you don't want to panic in an exam. I know that's easier said than done, but also you don't want to answer a question based on what you think they're asking from you.
That's so true.
Because then you give them an answer that's not going to get you the required marks. So 2 things I would say in terms of just very simple things in that situation. I still do it. Get yourself a highlighter. Highlight keywords. So you understand. So just imagine you in an English exam and they asked you give me an example of how the author compares and contrasts this text. And you think it means something completely else. You haven't read the question. So yes, I agree with you, Dan. Always double check the question. Always. And I forget. Maybe I'm a little bit out of touch, but I'm sure you can still put your hand up if you need help. Obviously, the invigilator won't give you the answer. I get that, but they can perhaps prompt you. Maybe they can get you back to just being more centered and saying, "Okay, I've got a little bit of a better idea, and now I'm going to highlight these keywords." So strategy is very important, and actually, this brings me on to the next stage, which actually will perhaps help you alleviate and manage your anxiety better in a exam. Dan, we've all been there. We've worked closely with students, and they just have a nightmare on that day. It's not their fault. The basic cognitive function disappears, and their body and their mind start acting in a certain way because of the pressure and the stress. Right? Let's not forget these things. They are real.
No, for sure.
So I would say to people, if you are very, very anxious and nothing works for you, and it does happen, I would recommend strongly to look at how many minutes you have. Do you have an hour and a half? Do you have 2 hours? And I want you to use a blank piece of paper, and I want you to, on that piece of paper, divide how much time you're going to use on each section. Because not only you're in control of what you're writing now, and also just imagine you come across a question that you're not confident about. At least you can move on to another section and come back to that. The time is still on your side in that way from a psychological perspective.
100%.
So do it however you want. Have fun with it. Do a pie chart, squiggle stuff. Do whatever you want. Bullet point it. Put lines underneath it. Do it. But it will help you stay organized. And actually, in my opinion, the more clearer you are on what is expected from you, the better the outcome. The more confident you'll be. You're not going to nail it 100%. You don't know for sure. So take that pressure off you. But at least you know what's going on.
You've just made me think of actually, I wouldn't say it's an exam, but a certain circumstance that's actually far more recent that is very relevant to what you're saying.
Sure.
First, there is something, because do I want to do this now or should I go later?
Go ahead.
Late. No. I'll quickly. I want to say later. I'm gonna interrupt when I feel like it's time.
Right.
But it's going to be transferring these into classrooms now, and I want that to be something, because actually a lot of what we're saying can actually be practiced in a classroom right now. And there's one fundamental thing that I'm recognizing that students are doing now that actually is going to play against them and is the reason that exams become so difficult. So actually I'm going to anchor that, and then Gigi, you just remind me later because I might forget. So I'm sorry, I'm currently studying as well, and for those of you who've recently done group sessions with me, you'll know about this, that I'm currently studying at the moment, and every month we get an assessment we have to do, and that assessment needs to be done, of course, by a certain time to a certain standard. And this is exactly the boundary I came up against. Now, again, I'm saying this as a fully fledged adult, someone whose confidence in learning, studying, and so on is not great, to be honest with you, because I haven't done a massive amount of it where I've been assessed. So this new process of being assessed has been quite daunting for me, to be quite honest. And it's interesting because Gigi, when you said make sure you understand what's expected of you or what they're expecting of you, there's a careful place where, yes, the question is asking you to answer it, right? That's the expectation. It's asking you to answer it, and therefore there's an expectation of an answer. Now, where I feel young people might get this twisted, because this is exactly where I got it twisted as an adult, is trying to answer the question that you think they want you to answer. No. Trying to give the answer you think they want you to give. Right?
Spot on.
Trying to give the answer. So what you're trying to do, which obviously raises the level of worry and concern and stress, instead of trusting in the information, which goes right back to the phrase of the day, and right back to what we were saying at the beginning, instead of just literally trusting in what you know and delivering that and letting that be it, we can fall into the trap of trying to read minds of a person that we don't actually know exists. We're trying to conceptualize a person's mind that is completely abstract and not real, right? We're almost trying to read the mind of death itself. Like it's completely like what, which causes us concern because that's hard to grab at, right? And I will say this has been an interesting turning point for me, because in doing these assessments over every month, my confidence has slowly developed. But what I've learned is this ability to literally go, this is the information I have on the subject you are asking me of. Here it is. And actually, it seems to be working quite well for me, to be honest with you. It seems to be working quite well. And of course, the first time was the most daunting. As some of you guys will find listening to this, you'll think, well, Dan, that sounds easy for you. But I had to start there. I had to do that. That's what I did, right? And I think it's trusting more in what you know. Gigi, you can attest to this. Any student that tells me that they're dumb or stupid or don't know the answer and yada, 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 it's nonsense. Utter nonsense. It's complete and utter nonsense. It's more the fact that the credit hasn't been given to themselves of what they do know, because they spend so much time thinking about the stuff they don't know. And if we worry about all the things we don't know, we are worrying about an ocean's, a galaxy's worth of information, when actually we're not paying attention to a solar system's worth of information that we do have.
Exactly.
Right. So I just want to point that out. Obviously, there's an answer expected of you, but I think it's important to acknowledge that's it. An answer, not the answer, not a specific answer, just an answer. And it's the answer, the best answer you can provide from the head that you have developed in your time at college, which knows more than you think it knows. Let that sit in your noggin for a moment, oh listener. Let that settle for a second. Now, if Gigi, sorry, do you have something to share first? Because I could go straight into what I was going to say before. But honestly, what do you have to say now at this part in the conversation?
I think there's a lot to be said. I think you've picked up on, the kind of internalized dialogues or narratives we hold about ourselves, which are usually quite false, to be fair. It's hard to see that.
Yeah, mine lies to us every day. It's terrible.
Exactly right. You can't. Let's put it this way. What me and Dan are saying is that you can't trust your mind. Okay, it will tell you some very, very bizarre things. Okay, so again, yes, if you've got an internalized narrative around, look, I'll give you a personal example. I grew up and I absolutely hated maths. I absolutely hated it. There was nothing that would keep me in that lesson. In fact, I used to act up in maths. Yeah, but that's only because I had internalized this thought, this idea, that I'm not good enough. I'm not good at maths, so why even bother, right?
Yeah.
But when I was able to see that, and luckily I had a very supportive teacher, I was able to go into the exam a little bit more confident, knowing that, okay, I might not be a maths expert, Yeah, everyone has their skills and weaknesses, right? And
Yeah,
accepting of that. But I can certainly give it a go. Yeah.
yeah,
And I think that's another thing we'll be coming up against, because bear in mind, I'm paying particular attention. My awareness is more around my students and our students, Dan, that they will be going into maths and English not having had good experiences. Yeah.
sure, no,
And
absolutely.
that residue is still with them, right?
Yeah,
So I want to be respectful in that manner, because that could be their mindset and that situation,
mm.
you know. And I'm hoping you guys can turn up to our workshops where we can start to practice a little bit more. But
Yeah,
of course, we also do the coaching if you want some of that as well.
yeah, for sure,
You know,
absolutely.
we'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you around that. And hey, it's absolutely okay about, you know, having bad experiences with these subjects, but a bad experience shouldn't mean that, you know, that gets in your way completely.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, that's accurate. Do call us, guys. Get in touch.
Please do.
We'll absolutely help you out. We'll hook you up with that good. So, so no. Finally, in terms of the classroom, this is what jumped out to me earlier. Right, was
Yeah.
that in a classroom I noticed, and again, this is regular student behavior. If you're a student or even a member of staff and you acknowledge this, then this is a practice that you can start putting in that's going to really benefit you in exams, but of course also in life as well. To be honest with you, in classrooms. Isn't it the common thing that effectively a student will spend a lot of their time wishing the time away?
Yeah, I think
Right?
so.
That's
That's
it.
fair.
They will, yeah, they will spend a lot of the time, but hopefully not. Hopefully not. But there will be classrooms. We can think of classes where the students sat there like watching the clock, literally watching every tick, um, like their life depending on it, and just wishing the time away, wanting it to hurry up to get to the end of the lesson. That mindset trickles into an exam. But the problem is the whole process or the whole function is reversed, where your mind is so used to wanting to wish time away that now you actually want to hold on to it, but all your mind is good at is wishing time away in a
Mm.
classroom setting. So now you're in an exam setting, which is in a classroom with classroom desks, classroom chairs, classroom material in front of you, and all your mind is wanting to do is wish the time away. And of course, that will play a role in there as well, because you'll want to get out of the room because you'll be like, I don't want to be in here. So one of the things that actually could be worth practicing for those who might be able to give it a go. And actually, there was an interesting thing I did with a student today in a one-to-one who was diagnosed with ADHD. So for those of you who have
Mm.
ADHD and you hear this, and you're like, oh, Dan, that's not going to work for me. I was also diagnosed with ADHD. This is something that can be a practice, all right? It can be practiced.
Mm.
Is instead of wishing the time away, give yourself a bracket of time where you are going to commit to focusing and
Mhm.
make it realistic at first. If you think you can do 5 minutes, do 5 minutes and then let it go. This is in the classroom, not in an exam. Give yourself 5 minutes, 5 minutes of solid focus. When that 5 minutes is up, don't obviously just go wild and flip a table, but allow yourself a second. Then set yourself a time when you go back to focusing. 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I'm going to focus and I'm just going to focus, right? If you notice your 10 minutes aren't up yet, get back to focusing. Do not allow yourself to be distracted, right? Oh, not allow yourself. If you do get distracted, just pull yourself back into the classroom and start listening again. Get your mind engaging, get your mind curious about what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Put this into practice, because then what you're able to do is when you sit down with the exam, specifically in conjunction with what you said earlier about, framing the time work of your lesson, of your exam. So you got like 20 minutes for this question, 10 minutes for this question. You're also then telling yourself how long you're going to spend focusing on something. So by doing that in the classroom, you're already training your brain to be able to stay focused on something. And it is indeed possible. It
Mm.
is indeed possible. We are not always the symptoms that our neurodivergency plays on us. Yes, it can sometimes be unpredictable. Yes, it can be a challenge at times, but we can also have some work in managing them. All right, we can
Mm.
be aware of them. And I'm not saying we can do it perfectly, nor am I saying that we can completely be rid of them. But it's something worth practicing nonetheless, because it means that we can give ourselves those windows of opportunity to perform, but specifically in exams, but also in other areas for our own benefit,
Mm.
to make waves. So if you don't want to do this in the classroom, you can also take a timer at home, set it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever. Get a book out in front of you, or your revision or something. Put the timer on, get to studying, and just practice studying for the amount of time allocated. Once the timer goes off, be free from it. let yourself free from it. Let that reward kick in, because then you set the timer again after a certain amount of time, go back at it. But just practice, because that's also something that our brain can, build a muscle on.
I like the reward bit. I'd love that bit. I totally agree with that.
You're listening to the G&D Show with Gigi and Dan, the catch-up coordinators at City of Bristol College. If you want to go into more detail with some exam prep, if you want some support with exams, or if you want to have a workshop run with your classroom on exam prep or exams, then reach out to us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Send us an email and we can arrange a session. Again, that is thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Let's get back to the show. I'm just going to point out to it immediately that we record the adverts while we're recording the podcast. And I'm very aware that I just said, let's get back to the show. And I can't change it. I'm not doing it again. I'm just going to leave it there, Gigi.
Let's just go with the flow.
Yeah, we'll just go with the flow. I can't re-record it. I'm just going to let it go. Right, here we go. Back to tradition. Back to the tradition. Back to the good stuff. Have you got a Would You Rather ready, buddy?
I've got 2 here, yeah.
Oh, 2. All right, mate. So I need to show
yeah,
off.
if you don't mind. I can stick with 1.
All right. Okay. You go first then, because I only had 1. I wasn't ready for 2. Go on then. You go first.
Okay, cool. So, my would you rather for you, Dan, is would you rather have to read aloud every word you read, or sing everything you say out loud?
Read every word I read, or sing every word
I say. So let me say it again. So would you rather have to read aloud every word you read, or sing everything you say out loud?
I think I sing everything I say.
Yeah.
There are some things that I read that are not good to be said out loud. I think I'll just sing the songs, thanks. I'll just sing the songs. That would be fine. Yeah. Sing the songs. That would be the one. I mean, because also technically I kind of do that anyway, not all the time, but I know I like to break into song every now and then, so that works fine for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Sing every word. There we go. That would be me. What about you? What would you rather?
That's a good question, actually. See, this is a difficult one because I like the spoken word and the written word, but then also like singing too. So this is a very, very tricky one. I would say I like the idea of reading out aloud every word that I read.
That makes sense. Like yes.
Yeah. Plus I'm dyslexic, so it's helpful.
It's beneficial.
Best kept secret, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, cool. Okay then. Okay, right. My first one. Gigi, would you rather go without shampoo for the rest of your life, or toothpaste for the rest of your life?
Oh my god. Yeah. That's a tricky one. God, you're really going to put me in there. I know that the listeners are going to be thinking I'm some sort of freak when I come up with my decision. See, I like
never
my
mind
hair.
Listeners, I might. So go.
See, obviously, mouth hygiene is very important. I get that, but then I'm a little bit vain because I like my hair. You know?
Oh God. So
I know, right?
What
even though it's got life of its own and it can go through different phases very quickly. Yes, I'd say shampoo. Sorry, that sounds really
without
bad.
Shampoo.
Yeah, because there's other things I could do. Like I could use like clove oil for my teeth.
You could just go bald, really.
No, I don't want to go bald. I was once upon a time. It doesn't work.
Me too. Yeah, I used to shake my head. Yeah.
Amazing. Same here.
Yeah. Nice, I mean, so wait, you're going without shampoo or you're going with shampoo?
No, I'll go with shampoo.
So you're going without toothpaste?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
You got mouthwash. You didn't say anything about
mouthwash. I'm going to start calling you toothless from now on. I'm not. Because I would absolutely lose the shampoo, chuck the shampoo right away. I'd shave my hair to get rid of my locks. I'd rather have toothpaste myself.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't do it. No. But what, clove oil, what does that do then? You brush your teeth with clove oil?
It's just good, isn't it? It's a good antibacterial. I think it's a bit of a kind of like a folk medicine treatment, I suppose. So please, if you're listening to this, don't use it like as if it's going to do something. Please. I don't want anyone Exactly. Hey, I might be studying Chinese medicine, but I don't recommend clove oil for crying out loud. I get a message.
Careful,
Oh, Gigi and Daniel. By the way, your podcast was fantastic, but you know that clove oil stuff. Oh my God, doesn't it reek? My friends don't want to talk to me anymore.
No, exactly. Oh no.
Yeah, please don't. No clove oil. Stay away from clove oil.
My morning breath melts the pillows. I don't know.
Please stay away from it.
Okay. All right. Your second one.
My second one is: would you rather wear a wedding dress or tuxedo every single day, or wear a bathing suit every single day? Your bathing suit will be just boxers, right? I don't know.
To be fair, in a way, I'd rather wear a bathing suit, only because a tuxedo after a certain amount of time, man, it just gets hot and uncomfortable.
That's a good point.
No, wait a minute. Wedding dress. I'll wear a wedding dress, mate. What are you talking about? Wedding
dress.
Yeah, man. Because what? Because at least I'm dressed. Because I realise the bathing suit, I've got, got my nipples out all day. I don't want that. But a wedding dress means that. To be fair, actually, this is also not right because I'm. Depends what kind of wedding dress. I need something that breathes. I need something that allows air to pass through. And I don't know because I've never worn a wedding dress, but I imagine some of them do, some of them don't. I imagine more of them don't than do. But a tuxedo sure as hell doesn't, and a bathing suit is too much. I don't want to be walking around with Nippleton everywhere. So
So exactly.
So wedding
dress.
To
the elements.
That's me. Okay. Wedding dress. Put it on me. How about you?
I'll be very, very kind actually and say that this wedding dress is like the finest bespoke Italian cloth you can possibly think of.
You're too good to me. All right. Fine. Yeah, I'll take it.
Plus, it look good on you, by the way.
I think so too, man. Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking that. I was actually thinking to myself like, yo, you know what? Get some nail varnish on it. A little earring thing. Okay.
Or you could don it like Lenny Kravitz. Nothing.
That's what I'm saying though. Like,
right.
It's already been done. I think Billy Porter did it best.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. So now, wedding dress.
Cool.
Hit me up. What about you?
See, I like wearing boxers and stuff. It's good. It's like because I get really hot.
I know.
So
yeah.
But I do like tuxedos and I do like wedding dresses. I do.
Yeah.
As long as they fit well. I don't want an oversized tuxedo.
Yeah, exactly. No, sure. Yeah.
That's a pretty easy one.
Nice. Fun though. Okay, here we go. This one. This one I'm wondering. I'm guessing this. I'm going to ask this question, but I'm imagining if you pick one, you're not going to be the other. Okay, and this will make sense when I ask the question. So, Gigi, would you rather be famous on the internet or in real life?
Would I rather be famous on the internet or in real life? I think honestly, I'd rather be famous on the internet, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't think I can handle a celebrity status. I think I'd freak out. You know, I don't think it's made for me. It wouldn't agree with my teeny weeny bit introverted personality. Yeah. How about yourself?
Same.
Yeah.
I would definitely go internet because on the internet you can be famous. Bear in mind with if you do it well, you can be famous with an alias. Obviously, you'll have your face and stuff like that. But that's why I say, you're not famous in real life. You're only famous on the internet. Kind of, in a way, kind of like Twitch streamers. Like Twitch streamers, the internet knows who they are. But actually, I think when they walk around, they don't get recognized as often as if they were a movie star. So I think even then, they get to have an alias and they get to exist on the internet. They still get paid. I think also there's something about being famous on the internet that I'm kind of jealous of, where you get instant access to your fans from all over the world.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, that means you get instant access to all your trolls and your enemies and people who hate you and stuff like that, which I'm sure actually impacts your mental health pretty badly too. But also, it means that when you can also separate from it really easily. I assume. If you're an internet famous person, please contact us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. And let us know because it seems that way. It seems like when they shut off, they don't get separated maybe from completely, but enough Whereas when you're famous in the real world, you can't go down to your local store. There's no way in hell. You can't just go down to, I can't remember who told me this story, or where I heard this, but it was like someone who came into fame, and part of the big things that they said really messed with them was literally the fact they could not just go to the store that they've been going to for ages and just buy some simple stuff. Like their whole normal life had been upended completely, and it was gone. Whereas I know with internet fame, that sense of humanity and normality can remain to an extent. But you can go, basically, you can go onto the internet and be like, "What up, my homies?" And
yeah, that sounds good.
I think that's it. So I would prefer the internet as well. Definitely. Nice. That concludes this episode of the G&D show. Thank you very much for rejoining us. Thank you very much for listening. Gigi, any parting words?
Apart from the fact that I said, at the risk of repeating myself, please do attend the workshops. I think you don't know us on a personal level, but I think you'd be quite pleasantly surprised at our outlook and the way we view the world, right, Dan? It's a little bit different, which is great, and so do reach out to us, and if you need any help, whether it's even a suggestion for the workshop. So actually, no, this is a great opportunity for me to say two things. Actually,
do it
very quickly. Well, I'm so glad you brought it up.
Okay.
Number one is, thus far, to put your mind at ease. What me and Dan have taken the liberty of doing is we have put together and are continuing to put together more workshops that are specifically focused on revision techniques that are fun. And they say if you have fun, you can easily remember things. Yeah, like games and quizzes, right? Amen. So, secondly, I was going to say as well that we're going to be able to share these resources with you at some point as well if you need them for revision, which is great. So it alleviates the symptoms of worrying about being in a classroom. And thirdly, Dan, remember you said earlier on in this podcast that you were going to mention something.
Oh no, I've done it. Yeah, I did that.
Right.
I did. I touched on it. It's sorted. It's good. It was basically about making sure that we start practicing the techniques in the classroom.
That's great.
Because I was worried that we would talk too much and I would forget about it, but I did it.
So that's fine. That's fine. So yes.
Sorry.
So definitely. So please do come to these workshops. It'd be just a great opportunity for us to also understand how you think and feel about these situations. Hey, just because me and Dan have opinions on things, that doesn't mean we're closed off from learning stuff from you guys too. Yeah. So please do. This is a collaboration. We want to move forward in a positive direction. We can only do that with your support and help. And teachers, we're looking at you guys as well. There might be something you find really helpful as a revision tool. Talk to us. We'd be more than happy to incorporate that. But other than that, I think it is literally arrivederci from Gigi and
sick one, brother. See you later from me.
Okay.
Have a good week, you all. See you later.
You've been listening to the G&D show. Thank you very much. If you've got any comments or questions, or if you're a student at City of Bristol College and you want some one-to-one conversations with myself or Govinda, then please do email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in another episode.